My name is Barbie the Welder and I'm a full-time metal sculptor. Today I'm going to show you how to make a wine rack using horseshoes. To make this project you're going to need some tools and equipment. The first thing you're going to need is a cutoff wheel, and I am using the Tiger Zerk. It's a thin cutoff wheel by Weiler Abrasives. You're going to need 7 horseshoes, and when you get your horseshoes, check this out. This is important. Take a wine bottle and check to make sure the size works. These are DC Zeros. These are classic horseshoes by Diamond Farrier. Check. The double zeros do fit. These are a little bit smaller, but there's like a gap at the bottom, and I like the DC Zeros is the smallest I go that I will use to make the wine racks. You're going to need a hammer and a chisel and a wire brush for cleanup at the end. You are going to need some kind of paint. You can paint them. This is a black and this is a clear, both Rust-Oleum. I use a clear, but I've seen people paint them and they look pretty sweet painted. I would suggest highly that you use a level. I like to keep mine level so you can make sure that the glasses don't fall out, and get you some safety gear. Glasses, you should have a face shield for using the cutoff wheel as well. Ear mufflers, gloves, helmet, and in order to weld this you are going to need a welder. I'm using my Lincoln 140C today. It is the most versatile machine that I've used, and it's going to get the job done. 2 other things I forgot to mention that you could use but aren't necessary. Nice shop marker. I like white for writing on the metal because it shows up good if I'm wearing a cutting goggle, but it shows up good on the metal. And it fits on the floor perfectly. And also a piece of angle iron that you can clamp to your bench. Not necessary, but it'll help you lining the pieces up, give you something so they're consistent. So your first step is going to be to take your horseshoe and use your marker and mark down about 1 inch on the back side of the horseshoe. Now, what that does is we're going to cut that piece out with our cut-off wheel, and then we're going to weld that horseshoe together. Now, I'm not supposed to have glass in the shop. I've already broken all the wine glasses I have to demonstrate this for you. I should not have that in here. Not good with glass, that's why I weld stuff. So we'll cut that out, and what that's going to do is that's going to make that horseshoe more narrow. These are going to be, you're going to do this on 2 of them. These are going to be how the wine glasses are going to hang upside down. And that base is, the base of the wine glass is not that large. So by cutting that inch out and squeezing, like pushing these 2 pieces together, it's going to be so that it's narrow enough so that the cup does not fall through, or like that your base of your cup as it's sitting on this is not like really close to the edge. If you use a whole horseshoe like this, it won't work at all. Squeezing the horseshoe works a little bit, but it's still, it makes it, the glass, it makes it wobbly. And we don't want to have someone walk through their kitchen, bounce the floor a little bit, and have the wine glass fall out of the rack, because then that's going to be, like, it's going to be worthless for them. So mark them and cut them. So we're going to take this, using this as a spacer. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to weld the back first, and this works out nicely the way I cut it, because that gives you a place for the weld to go. If I cut it so that it was just like this, then it's not gonna, like, the weld is gonna sit on top and it's gonna look lumpy and bumpy, and I don't like how it looks. Like, welding it like this, we can weld it and then we can grind it flush, and it's gonna be a lot smoother and a lot neater looking. All right, with our pieces lined up, and I have them facing down so that we're gonna weld the back first, so that when we weld the front side, it's gonna be nice and smooth. If we do the front side first, then you're going to end up having a bunch of gunk, and it'll be harder to clean up. Go ahead and give it a tack here, and then weld it. Tack, and then weld it. Now, I put the tack way here on the end. Now, as you can see, it's filled that in, and it's going to be a lot smoother and nicer to look at. All right, now we can flip the pieces over and just run a weld right down the front. Once those pieces are welded, go ahead and set them aside. Our next step is to take 3 horseshoes, and we're going to use those to make the base. The grooves that are in the horseshoes are really useful for helping us line this up. And what we're going to do is this right here is just go and take, and this takes some wrangling here. It's like wrangling herding cats, is that the term? So you want to just stick the bottom in those grooves just to give us a general width for the bottom, and then line the top up. And I just stick my thumb on either side. You want to get this as even as possible, and you just want to get those pieces to meet. And we're going to put 1 tack on either side once you get that balanced. All right, once you have that, you can turn around and look at it from the front to make sure that you are like not askew like that. You want it to be straight. And your goal on this one is to get the tops of these to be approximately the same height off of the ground. So look at it sideways, and once you have that lined up, go ahead and put a tack inside each, like inside, right in here, on each side. Putting the tack on the center in there will keep it from pulling to one side or another. If you go farther to the left or to the right, it'll end up pulling this piece over to the side. Once you have that tacked, go ahead and set that aside. All right, our next step is going to be to take our pieces that we have for the bottle to lay in, and they're going to be placed against the angle iron. And remember, you're going to want to face this out. You're going to want to face it away from this so that it just looks, I think it looks better that way. Our 2 pieces that we cut and re-welded, we're going to take these and we're going to use this angle iron to line us up. And I use this piece here, the cut piece again. I use it to give me consistency between those pieces. I find that that's a good distance. And I use the holes on the horseshoes. I use those to give me a good lineup. But the way this works out is it just kind of works out pretty good. That and the line, you have this line here to kind of use as a reference. You want that to be straight. These get pushed, if I could do this right. Oh, and maybe this one won't work out like that. But you want them to be consistent. So if this hole, you want to line these holes up with the edge, or find out how you can line it up where it works the best. You want it to be symmetrical. Once you get those lined up, you're going to tack weld 1 spot here and 1 spot here. We're going to take the second piece, and we're going to tack weld that to the other side, just like that. And if I did my job, that should keep these lined right up and symmetrical. Go ahead and tack those pieces on as well. I've got the top here and I've got the base here, And now I have my level, and this is a really awesome level. I love it. What you're gonna do when you level something is you level the surface that you're on. Like you get this, and we're gonna zero this out. Okay, we're gonna zero this out, and now we're gonna take this and we're gonna use this to level the top. So what we want that to do is it should be reading 0 when we're all said and done. My personal goal or challenge is I try to get it within ½ degree, so it should be within 0.5 when I get all said and done, and that'll keep this level, and hopefully whatever surface that's on, it'll also be level. So move this out of the way real quick. Your base should be facing either towards or away from you. This is going to be like this, and I'll use my thumbs against this piece here, and I hold this, and the way I line this up on the bottom is, can we see this here? So in here, diamond farrier, I don't know if they did this for artists or what, but it sure as heck helps. So this diamond that's in here, they've got it on the inside, it's on both sides. And what I do is I use that point right there. I'm backwards because I'm looking in the camera to try to do this. I use that and I center that on here, and that will get this horseshoe centered on my base. So I just aim that there. I can look inside, make sure that's on there. So now I've got that lined up this way, and now I've got to get it lined up with my level. So I'll put this up here, and when I put the tack on, I'm going to put the tack on in the center, so I try not to pull it one way or the other. So I am pretty darn close right there. See if I can hold this here. Not bad, not bad. All right, so we're just going to go in and tack the center of the other side. All right, now that it's all tacked up, I want you to go back and I want you to weld a small weld at each spot that it was tacked at. Now that your wine rack is all welded up, you're going to take your hammer and your chisel and you're going to chip any spatter off that's on there, and you're going to take a wire brush and clean all the weld discoloration. It's just going to make it look nice. And keeping that spatter off is pride and craftsmanship, and it's going to protect your people that are using this wine rack so that they're not going to get caught on like little sharp pieces, but also it looks good. So once you get all that cleaned up then and it's cooled off, you're going to take your Rust-Oleum or whatever paint that you have, make sure it's made to use for metal, and give it a nice couple of coats to give it a nice clean finish, and it will last forever. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this project, and as you can see, wine and glass rack. So there you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you like this project, I have a ton of projects that I make that are in my book, Horseshoe Crafts, 30 projects that you can weld at home. It's available at Barnes & Noble, Tractor Supply, and through Amazon. If you guys have any questions, email me at barbieTheWelder.com, barbieTheWelder@yahoo.com, and check out more of my stuff through all my social media on Instagram, on Facebook. More videos on YouTube. I got a ton of videos out there, and I'm also on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm very new to those, but I'm working on trying to get across all the different social media platforms to reach the most people. And check out more of my art on my website, Barbie the Welder at Yahoo. My goodness, BarbieTheWelder.com.